Okay, so this is just a breakdown of part of what we set up, okay, for your business type, that's a restaurant. So it starts up with the chart of accounts, part of what you'll be putting through on how to take care of. Then the bank account for the business, the customers and receivables balances for customers. Same with the vendors and payables balances. And these are majorly the clients you do business with. So you know for sure the chart of accounts is also linked up to every other thing you're doing here. The reason is because if we are talking about setting up of customers and receivable balance, customers have to be linked up with the income. Okay, so you must create an account called your sales. It could be your food sales or the restaurant, but there must be an income account being created because from these customers who make purchase of those foods, you'll be recording the sales made. Same goes with your vendors who are those pay for services they render to you, while customers are those who pays you money. So for the inventories aspect, you also be taught on how to set up inventories. So inventories like for the restaurants, we have inventories like raw materials and also assembly of food receipts, which is also very important. You know, restaurants purchases and those raw items could be for a particular meal, like vegetable soup. You purchase the leaf, you purchase the fish and other items. So I'm going to show you how to account for all that those items separately, all those items. I'm going to show you how you're going to do that, okay, which is very important. Now also the invoicing aspect, because if you must perform or record each sales that takes place, daily sales, weekly sales and so on, you must use the invoice to do that. So we have invoicing aspect, which is also a broad aspect you take through. We have the receive payments. How do you receive payments? When payment is made by cash or transfer, and you know in a restaurant, most of the time some customers pays by cash, some customers pays using POS, some make transfer. So you'll be putting through on how to record those payments. That's the issue of payments, right? This one is income recognition for customers. Then we have the aspect of inventories into your store when you want to purchase inventories. Okay, you have set up the inventories good. What if you're out of stock and want to purchase? Definitely, you know, as an accountant, you'll be using the purchase order to do that. You send it to those your vendors you've already set up. So you'll be putting through on how to purchase inventories, and also not just purchasing inventories. That's where people get it wrong. When inventories are finally been sent, how do you receive it into your location or into your store? So it's another thing you be putting through. Then your business expenses, you know, for a restaurant, they have a lot of business expenses they incur. So how do you record that? Then how do you adjust your inventory? It is also important for you. Most times, you know, for restaurant business, most of their inventories are perishable goods. So how do you adjust it? It's also very important for you. Maybe you go, you notice that some stock are already damaged or consumed. How do you take care of that? Because you need to understand the adjustment procedures here and also do your reconciliation on those inventories. So nothing gets missing. You know, they have fish and a lot of things. Some staffs most times might think they can steal, you know, they usually steal items like meat and other things. Trust me, and the whole setup is done to be very difficult for such to take it. Then the banking transaction aspect is important because you'll be doing your manual and your so bank reconciliation also. Then we have the tax consumption tax or VAT on sales, which you also know how to charge that and also set it up and also be able to remit it to the tax administrator. Then finally, we look into the aspect of financial reports, which involves sales, purchases, inventory, profits or loss, and that of the statement of financial position and the cash flow, which are all very important statements and financial statements which you must have on the back of your mind. The statement of financial position, okay, and your cash flow and other reports like a sales report, a purchase report, inventory report, profit or loss report. You can also run profit or loss reports by items. You can run the sales by items, sales by customer report, sales by product, and different breakdowns of reports, which I'm still going to show you. So everything here is based on this number one, which is the chart of accounts here. Okay, so that's why most times you will hear me say, if you have been following some of my videos, that the chart of accounts is an account that categorizes all your transactions. So all the transactions you'll be doing for this restaurant is a type of account that categorizes all those transactions and categorizes them into the 5 elements of the financial statement, which I call ingredients, okay, which are important. So when we talk about those elements, we're talking about assets, number one, number two, liabilities, number three, income, number four, expenses, and number five, which has to do with that of the equity. Equity is just majorly looking at what the business owns. For example, the owner of the business might have invested 500,000 or added additional capital into the business. You must recognize that as part of your equity, and you'll be shown on how to do that. Even drawings too is also an equity account because it's part of what the business owns, despite the fact that the business owner has the right to remove so amount of money from the business, but it has to also be accounted for since it's part of what the business owns, which is important. So everything you post here in Zoho Books or in QuickBooks can either be an asset, income, expenses, liabilities, or equity. So you must set up a chart of accounts, because if you don't set up your chart of accounts correctly, or if you get the setup wrong, it might be difficult for you to post transactions accurately. So you must understand that this is the foundation of the setup when it comes to this type of industry, which is very important. So don't forget, the summary of all this are part of what you will be putting into on how you can take care of this, which are also important for us to also set up the incomes based on different revenue centers. For example, restaurants have different centers which we call classes or locations. You know, restaurants might have let's say they might have the bakery section. They also have the, like, you might want to run your report based on classes. So it stands from the revenue, which your centers, which you're going to also set up. So at the end of the month, you can view and know how much did we make from bakery, that sales of bread, how much did we make from sales of so type of meal and so type of this, depending on how from drinks. So it means we are going to set up a sales income account or revenue center for drinks. We call it drink sales. We're going to set up for food sales, and we're going to set up for bread sales. So it's easier for you to do your postings and to get to view all information. So this is just a simple one on how to go about the accounting process here, which is very important for you to take note of. Then I'll also show you how to handle transactions using the estimates. There are some clients that ask that, okay, they have social program going on somewhere. They want to give people contract to supply them food. So how do you handle that? There are different ways you come about that using estimates, and also the aspect of advance payment where a client is an advance depending on the accounting basis you're operating, whether it's accrual or that of the cash basis. So all these things are just things you will be putting into. And don't forget, like I said, for the inventory aspect, how do you manage all your inventories? How do you manage the leaves? How do you manage the meat? How do you manage the fish? How do you manage the rice, the oil? How do you manage all the inventories that you have? Okay, so every material you need right there, how do you manage them? That is how what you'll be putting into, so you know how you can track what you have in stock, which is very important, as well as the budgeting. Because you want to also take care of the tax on budgeting or projects. Project is the aspect of jobs where you're given the contract, so it's also very important. And the aspect of payroll for staff's payments of their salary. Okay, so which is also very important. This just that's the basic information. So this is just an overview of the application. So you can see the item section. We have what items are going to be set up. For example, you know, for the type of business you're going to maintain the cost price, the purchase information, the sales. Same way for the sales model. You can see the customers, so you set up with the customers, estimate, invoice, and all documents needed. The purchases section at here. Okay, the accountant's modules is there. Both the journal entry, manual, currency, budget, transaction document to close the books of accounts so that it can be manipulated, and all the reports which I also spoke about, which these are all the different types of reports. You can see the business overview contains profit or loss, cash flow statement, notes of financial position, the sales by customer, by item, by salesperson, and all these are here. So that tax summary can also view your tax summary. Okay, depending if you've already set up tax. So all these are things you can do. So just